Everybody, I am Allegra Stein of Allegra Stein Coaching. Welcome back to the next installment of Ideas for Coaches, where I'm just going to share some ideas that I hope help you move forward on your coaching adventure. All of these are inspired by the most recent Tuesdays at Noon Mentorship and Mastermind class. Every Tuesday at noon, you can come and get one-on-one support with me, workshopping your coaching practice in a small group setting. And it's really awesome. No 2 weeks are the same. We always talk about so many different things. And what I'm going to share here actually is directly related to the conversation that we were having on the call. So please do something with what I'm about to share you. I am not only an ideator, I'm also an activator. I love to help coaches get into action. So if you're feeling stuck, maybe something will surface as a result of this video that'll help you kind of start taking some forward motion. So here are the ideas. The first, I like to think about my coaching practice as a free museum. And I encourage you to think about your coaching shop as a free museum. And here's why. When I think about it, and this is actually a picture that I drew on the call with the coach I was working with, because she is sitting there with all these ideas. She's like, well, I could do this and I want to try that. And I said, let me just give you this metaphor so we can at least organize all these ideas in a framework that maybe makes a little bit of sense. So if you think about your coaching shop as a free museum, in your museum are a lot of displays. And these displays are anything that you put out that helps someone, that someone can check out, they can experience your work. This video is part of my free museum. All of my YouTube videos are part of my free museum. These were ideas that she was coming up with, but this video is part of my free museum. My podcast is part of my free museum. The emails I send out, the blog posts I write, the free workshops that I've hosted in the past, all of those things are part of my free museum that you can come check out even if you never buy anything from me. But I do have stuff to buy, and the stuff that you can buy from me is in my souvenir shop. Now, for the woman on the call, for her souvenir shop right now is one-on-one coaching. So that is what it is. That's what you can purchase from her. From me right now, you can sign up for classes that I'm teaching this fall. You can sign up for Tuesdays at noon, or we can talk about the possibility of a one-on-one partnership. Those are the things in my souvenir shop. The path to this is through these things. Okay? If we're just thinking about this, and a lot of new coaches, I think, fixate on this. How do I get clients? How do I get paid? How do I get clients? How do I get paid? I want to try and make things a little bit more creative for you and encourage you to think about, well, what can I put out to help people? What can I put out there that will help people? What ideas can I share? What things can I teach? What point of view can I express? What of my own experience can I tell people about? Those are all things that can end up in your free museum, which you can then start inviting people to experience. And I put this little note here. I said, once you build your free museum, you have to start telling people about it. That's another project. That's like down the line. But for now, I just invite you to think about the work you do through this lens. What's in your free museum? What could I check out right now without having to pay you $1? And what's in your souvenir shop? What is it that I can pay you for? Now, here's something really important. Don't be afraid to tell people about what's in your souvenir shop. Anytime you share one of these displays, let them know that the souvenir shop exists. For example, on this call, on this video, this is a part of my free museum. I hope you use it and it helps you and you go off and try something as a result of watching this today. But I'm also going to let you know that if you want more personalized help, if you would like some support with me directly in working on your own practice and projects, come check out Tuesdays at noon. The link is below, right? So don't be afraid or shy about telling people you have a souvenir shop, even as you're building these really cool free displays for them. Okay, so that was kind of big idea number one. As a result of this conversation, the coach I was working with today said, well, what I'd really like to do, I've been thinking about trying to, I asked her to tell me about a specific idea that she's had because she's been talking to a lot of different people and she's like, oh, there's so much that I want to say. In fact, she had recently given advice to someone and I was like, well, what if you just captured that in some way and published it for other people to hear? Like the advice you're giving to your friend, what if you shared that in a way that it could reach other people? And all of a sudden she was like, yeah, actually, I'd really like to do that. She identified that her way of expressing is through speaking. I said, would you rather write it or speak it or perform it? She's like, I'd really like to just talk it out. So we were just brainstorming possible audio recordings she could make, which may end up on a podcast. And it's at this point that I just reminded her of the difference between extracting an idea and publishing an idea. Extracting an idea is when you take it out of your head and you put it in a format that could be shared, but it's still behind the scenes. This moment right here, I am extracting ideas. I might not publish this video. It's a different moment. So if you're feeling tension or concern, or it feels edgy, sharing your voice and putting your thoughts into the world, remember that even that happens in steps. And if all you feel comfortable with is extracting it, just practice recording yourself speaking about something or writing up a letter to someone with a piece of advice you have to share. Extracting it does not mean you have to publish it. That's the next step. All right. So that was kind of the second big idea that emerged. The final thing that I want to share with you today, and there was more again, but I don't want to make these too long because I don't want to overwhelm you, but this was really, really cool and something I just couldn't help but be like, oh, this is so good. If you are wondering what to put in these displays, if you're like, okay, but what do I want to talk about? What is it that I want to share? What could I record or write or post or draw or explain or teach or whatever? There's this thing that I say, which is that your people will tell you everything you need to know. Your people will tell you what to write about. Your people will tell you what problems they have. They'll tell you what they want. They'll tell you what they don't want. They'll tell you if they like your ideas, right? It always comes back to what your people have to say. And so if you are feeling stuck, if you're like, I don't know what to say, here's what I encourage. 1, go find someone to have a conversation with. Use the conversation project template, which is free. It's on my website. I will also link it below. Find someone in your life that you can go and listen to and have a conversation with. Maybe you help them a little bit. Maybe you just kind of take in what it is that they're telling you. And then what I want you to do, and this is the phrase that surfaced in today's call, is take that conversation to more people. Use that one-on-one conversation you have with someone to inspire something that you can create that you can then share and that perhaps more people might hear and be served by. Again, here's a very concrete example. This coach I was working with today, she works in the space of pregnancy and new motherhood. And she's been talking to a lot of different women at different stages of pregnancy. So she has one friend who's 6 weeks pregnant and she had all these tips to offer her. She has another friend who's 1 week postpartum and she's like, oh my gosh, I have so many things I want to share with you. What she can do is, as a result of the conversation she had, let's say with the friend who's 6 weeks pregnant, she can take that conversation, put it into a format that she can then go share with other pregnant women. She can make it anonymous. She doesn't have to give any personal details, but the conversation she's having over here can inspire the thing that she's going to put in her museum next, right? And it's essentially this idea of, how can I take this conversation? How can I bring this conversation to more people? So if you don't know what to talk about, come back to this idea of talking to people and having conversations and use those conversations to inspire what it is you create next. Everything that I'm sharing here is as a result of conversations that I'm having with coaches. And so what you create will be as a result of conversations with your people. And if you don't know how to do that yet, that's not a problem. It takes practice. Grab the conversation project. Again, it's linked below. Let me know if you end up taking action on it. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to know what you've heard in this. Are you going to do anything as a result of maybe an insight that surfaced? Share all your comments and questions, and I'll see you next time.